Hey everyone, and welcome back to Next Door, your favorite place for everything Heartland, where we dive deep into the episodes, explore emotional moments, and unpack the storylines that make this show so unforgettable. And today's episode is one that every Heartland fan has dreamed about, the return of Ty Borden. Yes, you heard that right. Season 19, Episode 1 has given us the emotional, shocking, and heartwarming moment we never thought would happen. Ty Borden is alive, and he's come home. If you've followed the show since his tragic departure in Season 14, you know how much this moment means. It's more than just a character coming back. It's also a love story, a family, and a process of healing that's been going on for years. In today's video, we're going to break it all down step by step, from how the show set the stage for his return, to the emotional reactions from Amy, Lindy, Jack, Lou, Georgie, and even Tim. We'll also look at the powerful private conversation between Ty and Amy, where love, grief, and hope collide. But before we dive in, make sure to like this video, subscribe to Next Door, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of our deep Heartland breakdowns. And after watching, I'd love to hear your thoughts. How did you feel when Ty came back? Drop your comments below, and let's keep this amazing Heartland community growing. The writers of Heartland didn't just bring Ty back out of nowhere. They crafted a slow, emotional buildup that made his return feel earned, believable, and incredibly powerful. Season 19, Episode 1 opens in an unusual way. There's a softness to the scenery, a quiet stillness across the Heartland ranch, as if nature itself is preparing for something big. We see Amy in the barn, tending to the horses just like any other morning. But there's a distant look in her eyes. The camera lingers on her face a moment longer than usual, and then we see something different. Flashbacks. Not old memories, but never-before-seen moments. Ty holding baby Lindy for the first time. The two of them riding at dusk. Ty giving Amy a small, carved wooden horse. It's dreamlike, almost as if Amy's mind is drifting back to a version of her life that still haunts her. But then something real happens. A letter arrives in the mail. It's addressed to Amy Fleming, but the handwriting is unmistakably familiar. When she opens it, her hands tremble. It's written from Mongolia, a place that for Amy has only ever meant loss. She doesn't read the letter out loud. The show gives us silence, letting us watch the disbelief and raw emotion pour over her face. The reactions from the rest of the family are equally tense and confused. Jack, ever the voice of reason, looks at the letter and grows visibly emotional. Lou wants to shield Amy. Tim is instantly suspicious. Could it really be? The letter is brief. Inside is a message from Ty explaining that he is alive, that he was rescued by nomads after the shooting, and that he lost his memory for years. Only recently had fragments started to return, and with them his desperate need to find Amy and Lindy again. Amy clutches the letter like a lifeline, her whole body shaking with a mix of hope, disbelief, and fear. And just when you think it might be a hallucination or a cruel trick, a truck pulls up on the long ranch road. Amy steps outside, and there he is, Ty, older, worn, but unmistakably alive. Time stops for a split second as their eyes lock. No words are spoken, just the sound of the wind and 1,000 emotions pouring from their eyes. Amy doesn't react the way we might expect. She doesn't run into Ty's arms or burst into happy tears. Instead, she freezes. Her legs seem to fail her, and she clutches the barn door for balance. Her mind can't fully process what she's seeing. Because how do you respond to seeing someone you buried, someone you mourned, someone you forced yourself to live? Without? Her breath becomes short, her chest heaving as she stares at Ty. He steps forward slowly, like a man trying not to startle a wild animal. Amy, he says softly. Just one word, and yet it carries years of pain, love, and longing. Amy takes a hesitant step back, as though afraid he might vanish again. She whispers, "How? How is this even real?" Her voice cracks, breaking the silence like a fragile mirror shattering. Ty gently explains everything: the gunshot, the injuries, the mistaken identity at the hospital, the years lost wandering in Mongolia with amnesia and healing among remote tribes. He tells her about the dreams, the fragmented memories, and the moment when a photo of Amy and Lindy finally brought everything back. Amy listens, her hands shaking, tears falling silently. She reaches out and touches his face slowly, like a blind person trying to remember a face long forgotten. And then she breaks. She falls into his chest, sobbing uncontrollably, pounding her fists weakly against him. "You left me," she cries. "You left us. I had to raise our daughter without you. I had to learn how to live without breathing." Ty holds her close, whispering over and over, "I'm here now. I never meant to leave. I fought to come back to you every single day." It's one of the most gut-wrenching and beautiful moments in the show's history. This isn't a fairy tale reunion. It's messy, it's painful, but it's real. And that's what makes it so powerful. The air seemed to change when Ty stepped back onto Heartland Ranch, as if time had stopped for a heartbeat. And in that quiet moment, it was little Lindy who carried the weight of emotion far beyond her years. At first, she didn't speak. Her small hand clutched Amy's tightly. Her eyes locked on the man in front of her, the man from the photographs, from bedtime stories, from dreams whispered into pillows. She finally said, her voice barely audible above a whisper, but bell-like, "Daddy." The simplicity of that word shattered every wall in the room. Ty dropped to his knees, tears streaming down his face, and Lindy walked toward him, not hesitantly, but with the certainty of a child whose heart somehow always knew her father was coming back. She touched his face gently, her little fingers, brushing the tears on his cheeks. "You're real," she said. And in that innocent phrase lived all the power of love, hope, and belief. Her embrace wasn't dramatic or overdone. It was pure, filled with trust, forgiveness, and unconditional love. It was the kind of moment that reminded everyone watching that sometimes the youngest among us can carry the deepest emotional truths. Jack had always been the rock of the Heartland family, steady, unwavering, a well of quiet strength. But even rocks have hearts. The old cowboy's throat tightened when he saw Ty walk up the familiar drive. Jack didn't run. He didn't cry. He simply stood there, eyes narrowing as if trying to make sense of a ghost walking out of the past. When Ty finally reached him, Jack said nothing at first. He just stared, his face a map of years, of wisdom, of hurt, and of healing. Then, in a voice roughened by emotion, he muttered, "You sure took your time, son." It wasn't sarcastic. It was heavy with all the things unsaid, the years lost, the pain buried, the hope he never quite allowed himself to believe in. Ty stepped forward, his voice cracking as he said, "I didn't know how to come back, or if I even could." Jack nodded slowly, placing a weathered hand on Ty's shoulder. "Coming back," he said, "is the hardest thing a man can do. But you did. That's what matters." In that moment, no more words were needed. Jack's wisdom wrapped around Ty like a warm blanket, a reminder that forgiveness isn't loud. It's found in presence, in acceptance, in the quiet strength of a man who's seen it all and still believes in second chances. For Lou, Ty's return brought a storm of emotions that refused to be sorted easily. She had spent so many years learning how to be strong for Amy, for Lindy, for herself. She had buried her grief beneath layers of control, organization, and resolve. So when Ty appeared, not a memory, not a dream, but a living, breathing reality, Lou's first instinct was disbelief, followed quickly by anger, then confusion. Then an overwhelming tidal wave of hope she didn't know what to do with. Her eyes filled with tears even as she crossed her arms, her voice sharp as she confronted him. "Where have you been? Do you know what you put Amy through? What you put Lindy through?" But even as the words came out, her tone softened. She saw the pain etched into Ty's face, the regret in his eyes. And Lou, ever the protector, couldn't help but begin to see past the hurt. "You're here now," she said, her voice trembling. "That has to mean something." Her hope was cautious, guarded by the wall she had built, but it was real. Lou wasn't ready to forget everything that had happened, but she was willing to believe that healing could start now. In Ty's return, she saw not just a man from the past, but a possibility for the future, one where love, family, and resilience might triumph over even the deepest wounds. Family, but always marked by the space he had once filled. She remembered him as a big brother, a mentor, a man who believed in her when others didn't. So when Ty returned, Georgie didn't react with loud emotion. She didn't cry, didn't collapse into his arms. She, the rider, the athlete, and the young woman who had been shaped by adversity, stood tall, her posture firm and her eyes sharp. "I didn't think I'd ever see you again," she said simply, her voice carrying both strength and vulnerability. Ty looked at her, amazed at how much she had changed, and yet how much of that brave little girl still lived in her. "I missed so much," he said, his voice cracking. Georgie nodded. "Yeah, but maybe now you can be part of what's next." Her words weren't naive. They were mature, grounded, a testament to how far she had come. Georgie's reaction wasn't about mourning what was lost. It was about choosing to build something new, something meaningful, now that the chance had come. "I've learned not to wait for perfect moments anymore," she added. "Sometimes you just have to create them." In Ty's return, Georgie found not just closure but inspiration, a reminder that we all carry the power to begin again. Tim was never one to wear his emotions openly. He faced life with grit, clenching his fists and clenching his jaw, and he hid any pain with sarcasm and obstinate pride. So when Ty returned, Tim's first reaction was suspicion, his protective instincts flaring, his mind racing with questions. "Is this some kind of joke?" he barked, eyes narrowing. "You think you can just walk back in here?" But beneath that hard shell, something was cracking. As Ty stepped closer, explaining the journey that brought him back, the confusion, the silence, the fear, Tim's anger gave way to something deeper. Pain, love, a father's heartbreak for the man he had come to think of as a son. "You broke her," Tim whispered, his voice heavy with years of unshed emotion. "And you broke me too." Ty nodded, taking the blow without flinching. "I know," he said, "and I won't stop trying to fix it." Tim's character changed in that instant. His fists unclenched, his shoulders dropped. He mumbled, "Then prove it. Don't just come back, stay back." Tim didn't offer a hug or tears. That wasn't his way. But the look in his eyes, the way he stood guard beside Ty that night, said everything. He cared, fiercely, protectively. And now that Ty was back, Tim was going to make damn sure he never left again. Later, as he sat alone on the porch, Tim whispered to the stars, "If you hurt them again, you'll answer to me, but damn it, I'm glad you're here." Later that night, when the house had grown quiet and the stars watched from above, Ty and Amy found themselves alone in the barn, the place where their story had begun. It smelled of hay and memory, and the air between them was thick with everything unsaid. Amy stood a few feet away, her arms crossed, her eyes full of questions. Ty looked at her, his heart breaking anew at the sight of the woman he had loved with every fiber of his being, and still did. I thought about you every day, he said, his voice soft. Every sunrise, every time I closed my eyes, you were there. But I couldn't come back. I didn't exist. I didn't know who I was. Amy's voice was shaking and her lips trembled. You left me, Ty. You left our daughter. And I had to become everything for her, mother, father, protector. Ty stepped forward, tears glistening in his eyes. I know, and I'll never forgive myself for it. But I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere. If you'll have me. Silence hung between them. Then Amy's face softened. Do you still love me? She whispered. Ty reached out, gently cupping her face. I never stopped. A single tear slid down Amy's cheek. Her voice was barely audible as she leaned into his touch. Then maybe we can start again, slowly. For Lindy. For us. Their foreheads touching, Ty nodded. One step at a time. One step, Amy repeated. And maybe this time, we walk it together. In that quiet barn, surrounded by the echoes of their past, they chose to believe in a future. One, not without pain, but full of hope, healing, and the enduring power of love. And there you have it. Heartland fans, Ty Borden's grand return in Season 19, Episode 1 has left us all speechless, emotional, and more connected to these characters than ever before. From Amy's tearful reunion to Lindy's innocent embrace, from Jack's quiet strength to Lou's complicated hope, this episode reminded us why we fell in love with Heartland in the first place. It's not just about horses and ranch life. It's about family, healing, and love that endures, even through the darkest times. It's about second chances and having the courage to take them. If this story moved you as much as it moved us here at Next Door, don't forget to like this video. Leave a comment below telling us your favorite moment or how you felt seeing Ty again. And most importantly, subscribe to Next Door and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update, a theory, or an emotional episode breakdown.